Welcome to Wonderful Stories, a place where imagination comes alive. So let's begin.
Part 1. The interview that wasn't supposed to matter. Min Jae-hyun does not get nervous. Not when celebrities fight to wear his designs. Not when critics dissect his collections like surgeons. Not when investors watch his runway shows like stock market forecasts. Nervousness is for beginners. He is a brand, a legacy, a name stitched into the future of fashion. So when his PR manager rushes backstage at Paris Fashion Week whispering, "There's a rookie reporter who slipped past security," Jae-hyun barely looks up from the gown he's adjusting. "Send him the press release," he says calmly. He doesn't want the press release. Jae-hyun straightens, smoothing invisible wrinkles from silk. Then he wants attention. Send him out. He already refused. That makes Jae-hyun pause. No one refuses his team. Access to him is currency. What's the outlet? He asks. An online culture magazine. Small, but growing fast. The reporters knew. Of course he is, Jae-hyun thinks. Only someone inexperienced would ignore protocol. 5 minutes, Jae-hyun says. Then security. Han Seo-jun nearly trips over a garment rack when he bows. "I'm so sorry. Thank you for your time, Director Min." He looks like he dressed in a hurry. Oversized blazer, slightly wrinkled shirt, press badge flipped backward. His hair falls into his eyes like he's run here. Jae-hyun has been interviewed by global media icons. This is not that. "You have 5 minutes, Jae-hyun says, checking his watch. Seo-jun fumbles with his recorder, almost dropping it. "Right, yes, thank you." Silence stretches. Jae-hyun waits for the usual question. "Who are you dressing? What inspires this collection? How does it feel to be the youngest?" Seo-jun blurts, "When did clothes first make you feel safe?" Jae-hyun blinks. "What?" Seo-jun swallows. "Your designs feel structured, protective, like emotional armor. I wondered when clothing stopped being fashion and became shelter." Backstage noise fades into the distance. That question doesn't exist in interviews. That question belongs in places Jae-hyun sealed shut years ago. "I design luxury," he says coolly. "Yes," Seo-jun says softly. "But luxury isn't always comfort." Jae-hyun studies him. There's no hunger in his eyes. No agenda. Just curiosity. Against his better judgment, Jae-hyun answers. "My mother worked in a garment factory," he says. "Long hours. Loud machines. I used to sit under her sewing table after school." Seo-jun doesn't interrupt. The sound of stitching meant she was still there. Jae-hyun continues. "If the machine stopped, I panicked." His throat tightens. He hates that. "So fabric," Seo-jun says gently, "became proof someone stayed." Jae-hyun looks at him sharply. "Yes," he says. 5 minutes pass. Then 10. Then 20. Seo-jun asks about stitching techniques like their poetry. About silhouettes like their emotional states. About why Jae-hyun never smiles during curtain calls. "Because the work isn't over," Jae-hyun says. Seo-jun smiles. "Or because you don't know how to celebrate yourself." That almost earns him a dismissal. But instead, Jae-hyun laughs, a short, surprised sound he hasn't made in months. After the interview, Seo-jun bows again, nearly knocking into a mannequin. "Thank you, really. I won't twist your words." "You already did," Jae-hyun says. Seo-jun freezes. "You turned them into something that matters," Jae-hyun clarifies. Seo-jun's ears turn red. When he leaves, the backstage feels quieter. Jae-hyun tells himself it's relief. It isn't. That night, in his hotel suite overlooking Paris, Jae-hyun opens the article link his PR team forwarded. He expects exaggeration. Instead, he finds honesty. The headline reads, "The boy under the sewing table who built armor from silk." He reads every word. Seo-jun didn't write about celebrity guests. Didn't rank the collection. Didn't mention market value. He wrote about a child afraid of silence. About a designer trying to sew permanence into a temporary world. Jae-hyun closes his laptop. His chest feels unfamiliar, unsteady. At 2:13 a.m., he opens his email. He stares at the blank screen for a long time. Then types, "Coffee tomorrow. No cameras." He hesitates. Then presses send. For the first time in years, Min Jae-hyun does something without strategy. And he doesn't know it yet. But those 5 minutes just unraveled the careful stitching of his controlled, untouchable life. Part 2. The article that saw too much. Seo-jun thinks the email is a prank. He reads it 3 times on the subway, gripping the overhead strap while the train rattles through the tunnel. "Coffee tomorrow. No cameras." Min Jae-hyun. No cameras. Not interview. Not statement. Not clarification. Coffee. His heart does something dangerous. He types a reply, deletes it, types again, of course, thank you, I'll be there. He almost adds sir, then backspaces. The cafe Jae-yun chose is small, tucked into a quiet Paris side street far from the Fashion Week frenzy. No paparazzi, no industry crowd. Seo-jun arrives 20 minutes early. He rehearses neutral topics in his head. Fabric sourcing, sustainability, trends, safe, professional, distant. The bell above the door rings. Jae-young walks in wearing a plain black coat, hair slightly messy, no entourage. Without stage lighting and designer suits, he looks younger. Human. Seo-jun forgets every prepared question. You're early, Jae-young says. I didn't want to be late. Good. They sit across from each other. Steam curls from their coffee cups. For a moment, neither speaks. This isn't an interview, Jae-young says. Seo-jun nods quickly. Right. Just coffee. Are you always that nervous? Yes. A corner of Jae-young's mouth lifts. Honest. That's rare. They talk about nothing, then everything. Seo-jun admits he almost didn't pursue journalism because his parents said it wasn't stable. That he works nights editing subtitles to afford rent. That stories matter more to him than fame. You don't seem impressed by success, Jae-young observes. I am, Seo-jun says. I'm just more interested in the person before the success. No one has ever said that to Jae-young without wanting something. So what did you want from me? He asks. Seo-jun meets his eyes. To understand why your work feels lonely. Jae-young looks away first. Coffee becomes a walk becomes 3 hours. They talk about childhood food, first failures, embarrassing teenage haircuts. Seo-jun laughs easily, covering his mouth when he does. Jae-young finds himself watching the way his eyes disappear when he smiles. This is bad, he thinks. Attachment is messy, public, dangerous. Yet when Seo-jun shivers in the cold, Jae-young shrugs off his coat and drapes it over his shoulders without thinking. Seo-jun freezes. You'll get cold. I'm used to it. That's not true. But neither of them calls it out. 2 days later, the article hits international platforms. It spreads like wildfire. Not because it's scandalous. Because it's intimate. Comments flood in. I never knew this about him. This explains his designs so much. I cried. Jae-young's PR team panics. This makes you look vulnerable, his manager says. We didn't approve this angle. I did, Jae-young replies. You'll lose your mystique. I'm not a statue. Seo-jun's editor calls him in. You struck gold, she says, half amazed, half concerned. But be careful. Powerful people don't like being seen too clearly. Seo-jun smiles nervously. He wasn't angry. Not yet. That night, Jae-young stands in his studio alone, city lights bleeding through tall windows. He rereads one line from the article. He doesn't design to impress the world. He designs to make sure no one he loves ever disappears into silence again. It feels like someone held up a mirror he didn't know existed. His phone buzzes. A message from Seo-jun. Thank you for trusting me. I meant every word. Jae-young stares at the screen for a long time. Trust. He hasn't given that in years. He types back. Dinner tomorrow. Somewhere loud. Less thinking. 3 dots appear immediately. Okay, smiley face. That smiley face shouldn't affect him. But it does. Because for the first time since becoming Min Jae-yun, fashion icon, someone is talking to him like he's just Jae-yun. And he's starting to want more of that than he wants control. Which is exactly how things begin to fall apart. Part 3. Coffee turns dangerous. Dinner was supposed to make things simpler. It does the opposite. The restaurant Jae-yun picks is loud like he promised. Clinking glasses, overlapping conversations, music humming just enough to blur the edges of privacy. No one pays them special attention. For once, he is not the center of the room. Seo-jun looks relieved the second they sit down. This is nice, he says. No one staring. They will if they recognize me, Jae-yun replies, scanning the room out of habit. Seo-jun tilts his head. Do you ever stop being on guard? No. The answer comes too fast. Seo-jun doesn't push. Just nods like he understands more than he should. They talk over food neither of them really tastes. Seo-jun tells him about his worst interview ever, accidentally calling a famous actor by the wrong name. Jae-yun actually laughs, shoulders shaking. You're laughing at my career trauma. I needed that story, Jae-yun says. My industry is too polished. No one admits mistakes. I make them hourly. That's human. Seo-jun looks at him strangely. You say that like it's a compliment. It is. Somewhere between the main course and dessert, the air changes. It's subtle. The kind of shift you only notice once you're already inside it. Seo Jun reaches across the table to show him something on his phone, an old photo of his first published article, badly formatted, full of typos. Their heads lean close, their shoulders touch, neither moves away. Jae-young becomes hyperaware of everything, the warmth of Seo Jun's arm, the faint scent of laundry detergent, the way his voice softens when he's excited. This is not safe, his mind warns. But he doesn't pull back. When they leave, the night air is cool. They walk side by side, hands occasionally brushing. Each time, Seo Jun startles slightly. Each time, Jae-young pretends not to notice. You don't have to keep meeting me, Seo Jun says suddenly. Jae-young stops. Why would I stop? Because I'm just some rookie journalist. You live in a different world. Jae-young studies him. I don't like my world very much, he says quietly. Seo Jun's breath catches. They reach a crosswalk. The signal turns red. Cars rush past. For a moment, they stand too close. The city noise fades into background static. You make me forget things, Jae-young admits. Good things or bad things? Lonely things. Seo Jun's eyes widen slightly. The signal turns green. Neither of them moves. Then Seo Jun laughs nervously and steps forward first, breaking the moment. But something has already happened. A line crossed. Invisible. Permanent. Later that night, Seo Jun lies in bed staring at his ceiling. He replays every second, every look, every almost touch. This isn't professional anymore. This isn't safe. But when his phone lights up with a message, his heart jumps anyway. Jae-young, did you get home? Seo Jun smiles helplessly. Seo Jun, yes, you. Jae-young, studio, couldn't sleep. 3 dots, disappear, come back. Jae-young, thank you for tonight. Seo Jun types, deletes, types again. Seo Jun, you don't have to thank me. A pause. Then, Jae-young, I do. I haven't felt normal in a long time. Seo Jun presses the phone to his chest. That's when he realizes the truth. This isn't a story anymore. And the moment feelings enter, everything else gets complicated. Careers, reputations, lines they're not supposed to cross. But neither of them is walking away. And that's where the real trouble begins. Part 4, Flashbulbs. It happens on a normal afternoon. Which is how disasters always start. They aren't doing anything dramatic. No secret getaway. No candlelit confession. Just a small cafe near the river after Seo Jun finishes an assignment. Jae-young arrived first, hat low, mask on. He chose a corner table out of instinct. Seo Jun slid into the seat across from him, breathless from running, smiling like he always does when he sees him, open, unguarded. That's the moment, not the coffee, not the conversation, not even when Jae-young reaches across the table to brush sugar off Seo Jun's sleeve. It's when they leave. The sky opens without warning, rain pouring hard. Seo Jun laughs, trying to shield his notebook under his jacket. Jae-young doesn't think. He steps close, opens his umbrella, pulls Seo Jun under it, hand firm at his shoulder so he doesn't get soaked. Too close, too natural, too intimate. Across the street, a camera clicks. The photo hits the internet in under an hour. Blurry, rain-streaked, but clear enough. Min Jae-young holding an umbrella over an unknown man. Speculation explodes. Mystery man with fashion icon. New muse or secret lover. Designer's heart finally taken. Seo Jun sees it while on the subway home. His stomach drops. Messages flood his phone. Friends, coworkers, unknown numbers. His editor calls. Come in, now. The newsroom feels colder than usual. His editor doesn't yell. That's worse. You were assigned to cover fashion culture, she says. Not become part of it. It wasn't planned. It doesn't matter. You can't report on him anymore. Seo Jun grips his bag strap. I never wrote anything inappropriate. This isn't about what you wrote. It's about perception. The word lands heavy. Conflict of interest. Bias. Compromised. You'll be moved to another department, she finishes. Seo Jun nods numbly. His big break. Gone. At the same time, Jae-young's phone doesn't stop ringing. PR. Investors. Brand executives. You need to address this immediately. This could damage your image. Romance rumors affect market stability. Market stability. As if feelings are stock prices. Release a statement, his manager insists. Say he's just a journalist you met once. Jae-young's jaw tightens. That's not true. Truth is irrelevant. Control is what matters. Jae-young ends the call. For the first time in years, anger burns hotter than fear. That night, Seo Jun stands outside Jae-young's studio, unsure if he should knock. He does anyway. Jae-young opens the door instantly, like he's been waiting. I'm sorry, Seo Jun blurts. I ruined everything. Jae-yun frowns. You didn't. My job. Your reputation. Jae-yun steps closer. Look at me. Seo-jun does. I chose to stand next to you, Jae-yun says. No one forced me. But your world. I'm tired of my world deciding who I'm allowed to care about. Silence fills the space between them, heavy but electric. Outside, notifications keep exploding. Inside, everything narrows to two people standing too close. This is where we stop, Seo-jun whispers, even as he doesn't step back. Jae-yun's voice softens. Do you want to? Seo-jun's answer is barely audible. No. That's when Jae-yun kisses him. Not dramatic, not polished, just desperate, warm, real. And in that moment, with the world already watching, they both choose the one thing guaranteed to make everything harder. Each other. Part 5, The Fallout. The kiss changes everything, not because anyone saw it, but because now there's no pretending. By morning, the headlines are worse. Insider sources confirm designer's secret relationship. Reporter linked to fashion powerhouse, ethics questioned. Seo-jun doesn't even get to finish his coffee before HR calls. Effective immediately, you're suspended pending review. Suspended. Not fired. Not safe. Just waiting. He walks out of the building with a cardboard box he didn't need yesterday. His desk plant sticks out awkwardly, leaves trembling in the wind. His phone buzzes. Jae-yun. Where are you? Seo-jun stares at the message. He types back. Seo-jun. Outside my office. I think I just lost my job. The reply comes instantly. Jae-yun. Stay there. A black car pulls up 10 minutes later. Seo-jun hesitates before getting in. This looks like a scandal headline waiting to happen. Inside, Jae-yun doesn't look like a fashion icon. He looks furious. They suspended you, he asks. Seo-jun nods, staring at his box. It's not your fault. It is. No, Seo-jun says firmly. It's the system. People love stories until the people in them are real. Jae-yun's hands tighten in his lap. I can fix this, he says. I'll hold a press conference. Say we're not involved. Seo-jun's chest tightens. That's a lie. I lie for business all the time. But this isn't business. The car fills with heavy silence. At the studio, the air feels different. Less safe. More fragile. Seo-jun sets his box down on a cutting table. I knew this could happen, he says quietly. I just didn't think it would hurt this much. You can hate me, Jae-yun says. Seo-jun looks up. I don't. Then why do I feel like I took something from you? Because you're not used to not being able to control the outcome. That lands. Jae-yun laughs once, bitter. You really are dangerous. His phone rings again. PR. He ignores it. Instead, he steps closer to Seo-jun. I spent my whole life building walls, he says. Security. Distance. Perfection. And the second someone gets close, the world punishes them. Seo-jun's eyes soften. I don't regret meeting you. You should. I don't. That's simple. That terrifying. Hours later, a statement goes out from Jae-yun's company. Director Min values professional integrity. He will refrain from personal associations that may be misinterpreted. Seo-jun reads it twice. Refrain from personal associations. His chest feels hollow. Jae-yun didn't write it, but he allowed it. That night, Seo-jun doesn't answer Jae-yun's calls. Because for the first time, love doesn't feel like warmth. It feels like standing in the rain without an umbrella. Watching the person who pulled you close step back for the sake of the storm. And Jae-yun, alone in his dark apartment, finally understands something worse than loneliness. Regret. Part 6. Silence between the seams. 3 days. That's how long Jae-yun goes without hearing Seo-jun's voice. 3 days of unanswered calls. 3 days of messages left unread. 3 days of work that looks perfect and feels empty. The studio is quiet except for the sound of scissors slicing fabric. Usually, that sound calms him. Now it just reminds him of distance, clean cuts, sharp lines, things separated on purpose. He stares at the half-finished jacket on the mannequin. Structured shoulders, high collar, defensive, armor. He drops the scissors. Seo-jun isn't doing better. His apartment feels too small, too loud with his own thoughts. His suspension email sits open on his laptop like a wound that won't close. Friends text. You'll bounce back. Scandals fade. But this doesn't feel like a scandal. It feels like loss. Not just his job. Him. He replays the company statement in his head. Refrain from personal associations. Professional words. Clean. Distant. Like he was a mistake to correct. Seo Jun turns his phone face down so he doesn't have to see Jae Yun's name lighting up the screen again. The fashion world doesn't wait for heartbreak. Jae Yun's next collection deadline looms. Investors visit the studio. Executives watch him like he's a stock chart trending downward. You need something strong this season, one of them says. Reassert control. Control. Jae Yun nods, says the right things, shows them sketches. But every design looks the same. Sharp, cold, untouchable. There's no heartbeat in them. Because the one person who made him feel human isn't here. That night, he does something reckless. He goes to Seo Jun's apartment. No car, no security, just him, standing in front of a building too ordinary for someone like him. He hesitates before knocking. The door opens slowly. Seo Jun looks surprised, tired, beautiful in a way that hurts. You shouldn't be here, Seo Jun says. I know. Silence stretches between them, heavy with everything unsaid. I didn't write that statement, Jae Yun says. But you let it happen. I was trying to protect you. It felt like you were erasing me. The truth lands between them like glass. Jae Yun steps closer but stops short of touching him. I don't know how to love without calculating damage, he admits. My whole life, feelings were weaknesses competitors could use. I'm not your competitor, Seo Jun says softly. I just wanted you. That almost breaks him. I thought distance would make it easier for you. It made it worse. Their eyes meet. No cameras. No headlines. Just two people bad at this but trying anyway. I don't need you to fix my career, Seo Jun says. I need you to decide if I'm worth the mess. Jae Yun's voice is barely steady. You are. Then don't hide me. It's not a demand. It's a boundary. And Jae Yun realizes this is the real risk, not scandal, not investors. Vulnerability without strategy. I have a show in 2 weeks, Jae Yun says quietly. It's being called my comeback collection. Seo Jun waits. Come, Jae Yun says. Not as press, not as a secret. Sit in the front row. Seo Jun's breath catches. That will make everything worse. Yes. A long pause. Then Seo Jun nods. Okay. For the first time since the storm started, Jae Yun feels something settle in his chest. Not control, not safety, choice. And sometimes, that's braver. Part 7, The Front Row. Fashion Week returns like a storm that never really left. Cameras crowd the venue entrance. Flashbulbs fire like lightning. Every arrival is documented, dissected, uploaded within seconds. Inside, the show space glows white and sharp, minimalist, controlled, exactly like people expect from Min Jae-yun. But backstage, his hands aren't steady. 5 minutes, his assistant says. He nods, staring at the runway curtain like it's a cliff edge. He's faced critics, collapses in supply chains, hostile investors. None of that made his heart pound like this. Because tonight isn't about fabric. It's about a choice. Seo Jun almost turns around twice before reaching the entrance. He's dressed simply, black coat, clean lines, nothing flashy. He doesn't belong in this world of couture and celebrity, and he feels it with every step. The invitation in his pocket feels heavier than paper. At check-in, the staff member scans his name. Her eyes widen slightly, then she gestures forward. Front row, sir. Murmurs ripple as he walks down the aisle. People recognize him, not as a journalist, as the rumor. Phones lift subtly. Photos taken, casually. Seo Jun keeps his head up anyway. He sits. Front row, visible. Backstage, Jae Young watches through a slit in the curtain. He sees him, second seat from center, right where cameras can't ignore him. Fear spikes, sharp, instinctive. This will cost you, investors, contracts, reputation. Then Seo Jun looks toward the runway, unaware he's being watched, fingers curled nervously in his lap. And something in Jae Yun settles. Let it cost. The music starts, deep, resonant, like a heartbeat through walls. First model steps out, gasps follow. The collection is different, still structured, but softer. Movement in the fabric, layers that open instead of close. Armor that can breathe. Critics lean forward. This isn't defensive design. This is emotional. Halfway through, whispers start. Is this about? It feels personal. Since when does he design like this? Jae Young stands at the curtain, watching reactions, but his eyes keep drifting to the front row. To Seo Jun, watching like he always does. Like the clothes are stories, not products. Final look. A long coat in muted gray, stitching visible on purpose, seems exposed instead of hidden. Imperfection is design. The music cuts. Silence. Then applause rises, Hesitant at first, then overwhelming. Jae-young steps onto the runway for his bow. Flashbulbs explode. He doesn't look at the cameras. He looks at Seo-jun. And in front of the entire industry. He walks down the runway steps. Not to the exit, to the front row. A collective inhale sweeps the room. He stops in front of Seo-jun. Offers his hand. Not romantic, not dramatic, just real. Seo-jun stares at it, eyes wide. Then takes it. The room erupts. Headlines write themselves before the show even ends. Designer confirms relationship live. Fashion's Ice King goes public. Love story stuns Fashion Week. Backstage later, chaos explodes, PR teams scrambling, phones ringing nonstop. You've complicated everything, an executive snaps. Jae-young exhales slowly. I simplified it. Outside, Seo-jun and Jae-young stand by the car, noise buzzing around them. That was insane, Seo-jun says, breathless. Regret it, Seo-jun shakes his head. Terrified, yes. Jae-young nods. Me too. Their fingers brush, then intertwine. No hiding, no umbrellas. Just two people standing in the open air, letting the storm see them. And for once, Jae-young doesn't want to run from it. Part 8. The cost of being seen. Going public feels brave for exactly 12 hours. Then reality arrives. By morning, Jae-young's name is everywhere, not in fashion columns, but business headlines. Brand partners, re-evaluating, relationship. Investors concerned about, image shift. Is the designer losing his edge? Seo-jun trends too, but not kindly. Reporter WHO, used, designer for career. Ethics violation debate continues. He stops reading after the third article calls him opportunistic. Jae-young sits in a glass meeting room that feels more like a courtroom. Executives line one side of the table. We support you, one says, which means the opposite. But luxury branding relies on mystique. Emotional exposure changes market perception. I design clothes, Jae-young replies evenly. Not mythology. This isn't about feelings. It's about stability. There's that word again, as if love is a financial risk. Across the city, Seo-jun meets with his editor. She looks tired, not angry. You put me in a difficult position, she says. But, your suspension review came back. Seo-jun braces. You're not fired. Relief flickers, then fades when she continues. You can return. Different department. No culture reporting. No features. No stories. Just safe, bland assignments. A quiet demotion. He nods anyway. Because rent exists. Because dreams bend before they break. That evening, they meet at Jae-young's studio. No dramatic greeting. Just tired smiles. How bad? Seo-jun asks. I might lose 2 major sponsors. Seo-jun's chest tightens. Because of me. Because I chose something that doesn't fit their branding. He sits on the work table, staring at the floor. I worked my whole life to get here, he says quietly. I thought success meant freedom. Seo-jun steps closer. And, it just gave me more to lose. Seo-jun tells him about the job offer. The reassignment. The slow suffocation disguised as opportunity. You can say no, Jae-young says. And do what? Passion doesn't pay rent. They laugh softly, but it's not funny. Silence settles, heavy but honest. Do you regret it? Seo-jun asks. Jae-young looks up. No, he says immediately. I regret that the world makes this hard. Not that it's you. Seo-jun's eyes shine slightly. I don't want to be the reason you fall, he whispers. You're the reason I stand like a person, not a brand. That breaks something open. Later, they sit on the studio floor, backs against the wall, city lights spilling through tall windows. Not glamorous, not dramatic, just quiet. If everything collapses, Seo-jun says, what happens? Jae-young thinks. Then we build something smaller. Something ours. Seo-jun smiles faintly. That sounds terrifying. It does. Their hands find each other in the dark. Outside, the world debates their worth in headlines and comment sections. Inside, 2 people sit with uncertainty, careers shaking, futures unclear. But for the first time, neither of them is facing it alone. And sometimes, that's the only stability that matters. Part 9. What they choose to keep. The storm doesn't end. It just moves on to newer gossip. That's how the world works. Loud, short memory, always hungry for the next spectacle. But consequences don't trend, they linger. Jae-young officially loses 2 brand partnerships. A luxury watch campaign disappears overnight. One investor pulls funding from an upcoming expansion. The headlines call it a strategic image misstep. He calls it the price of honesty. Strangely, he sleeps better. Seo Jun goes back to work. Different desk, different department, fluorescent lighting instead of field assignments. He edits short lifestyle blurbs now. Safe topics, no depth. His coworkers are polite in the careful way people are around controversy. No one mentions the scandal, which somehow feels worse. At lunch, he scrolls past independent journalists launching newsletters, podcasts, small platforms built on passion instead of permission. His chest tightens. He remembers why he started. Not for stability, for stories that matter. That night, he shows up at Jae-Yun's studio with takeout. Jae-Yun is sitting cross-legged on the floor, sketchbook open, pencil moving slower than usual. Bad day, Seo Jun asks. Complicated day. They eat from the containers on the work table like it's the most natural thing in the world. I was offered a safe version of my career, Seo Jun says. Less risk, less voice. Jae-Yun hums. And you hate it? Yes. Then don't take it. Seo Jun laughs. That's easy for someone with global influence to say. Jae-Yun looks at him, serious. I'm building something smaller. Seo Jun frowns. What do you mean? I'm leaving the parent house after this season. Seo Jun nearly drops his chopsticks. That's huge. It's time, Jae-Yun says. I started designing to protect something real. Somewhere along the way, I started protecting an image instead. He flips the sketchbook around. The designs are different again. Simpler, thoughtful, less spectacle. A new label name is scribbled at the top. Seo Jun stares at it. You're starting over. I think I want to know what success looks like when it isn't controlled by fear. The idea lingers between them. Risk, freedom, smaller but real. What if, Seo Jun says slowly, I don't go back to that job? Jae-Yun doesn't answer right away. What if you build something that can't reassign your voice? He says instead. Seo Jun's mind races. Independent culture stories, artists, process, truth, no corporate filter. It sounds impossible. It also sounds like breathing after being underwater. Weeks later, they sit at a tiny kitchen table covered in notes, fabric swatches, laptop screens glowing past midnight. Jae-Yun drafts his first collection for his own label. Seo Jun designs a homepage for an independent digital magazine. Neither of them knows if this will work. But they know why they're doing it. And that's new. You know, Seo Jun says softly, if we fail, the internet will never let us forget. Jae-Yun smiles. Then let's fail doing something that's ours. Seo Jun reaches across the table. This time, the touch isn't hesitant. It's steady. They didn't keep the sponsorships. They didn't keep the spotless reputations. They didn't keep the illusion of safety. But they kept each other. And sometimes, when everything else unravels, that's the thread that matters most. Part 10. Not a headline, just a life. 1 year later, no one calls it a scandal anymore. It's a footnote, a career pivot, a bold rebrand. The fashion world moves fast. The media cycle moves faster. What once felt like an explosion now survives as an old article buried under newer drama. But for Jae-Yun and Seo Jun, everything is different. Jae-Yun's new label operates out of a studio half the size of his old one. No marble floors, no dramatic glass walls, just natural light, long wooden tables, and a team small enough to share lunch together. He knows every tailor by name. He approves fabrics by touch, not presentation slides. His newest collection doesn't debut in Paris. It launches in a quiet gallery space with folding chairs and handwritten invitations. Critics call it intimate. Younger designers say it feels human, someone writes. Sales grow slowly, but they grow. And for the first time, Jae-Yun doesn't feel like he's performing success. He feels like he's living inside it. Across the room, Seo Jun adjusts a camera tripod. His independent magazine started as a risky idea at a kitchen table. Now it's small, but respected. Artists submit stories about process, burnout, rebuilding. Readers say it feels honest in a way big media forgot how to be. No one assigns his voice anymore. He chooses every story. Sometimes that terrifies him, but it's his. Their worlds still overlap, but not because of scandal. Because of work, because of belief, because late nights still happen, except now they're fueled by cheap coffee and shared deadlines instead of damage control. One evening, after a long day preparing for Jae-Yun's show, they walk home together. No bodyguards, no flashing cameras, just city noise and tired steps. Do you ever miss it? Seo Jun asks. The scale, the spotlight. Jae-Yun thinks. I miss the ease of not worrying about money, he admits. But not the loneliness. Seo Jun nods. I thought losing my job would be the worst thing that ever happened to me, he says. Turns out, it just pushed me toward the thing I was too scared to try. They stop at a crosswalk. A year ago, this kind of moment felt dangerous. Now it just feels like evening. Funny, Jae-young says. The world thought we were a headline. We were, Seo Jun says. For about a week. Seo Jun smiles. Good thing life lasts longer than news cycles. The light turns green. Jae-young takes his hand openly, casually, like it's the most normal thing in the world. And now, it is. Their love never becomes a dramatic public brand. No grand declarations. No magazine covers about power couples. Just shared breakfasts. Disagreements about topography. Fabric scraps on the kitchen floor. Missed buses. Quiet support before big days. Not cinematic. Real. And in a world addicted to spectacle. That's the boldest thing they could choose. Because in the end, they didn't win by being untouchable. They won by being seen. And staying anyway. Epilogue. The small things that stay. The first time it happens, Jae-young almost doesn't notice. They're in a fabric market on a quiet Sunday morning, the kind that smells like cotton dust and street food. Rolls of cloth lean against each other in messy towers. No one cares who he is here. Seo Jun is arguing with a vendor over the price of handmade buttons. Artisan work should be valued, he insists. You are bargaining very intensely for someone defending artisans, Jae-young murmurs beside him. Seo Jun elbows him. Support doesn't mean overpaying. Jae-young smiles, soft, private. A woman nearby watches them for a moment, then approaches hesitantly. Excuse me, she says to Jae-young. Are you? He braces. But she doesn't ask for a photo. I attended your small gallery show last season, she says. The gray coat with the visible seams, I wore it to my first job interview after changing careers. It made me feel brave. Jae-young blinks. That's why I made it, he says quietly. She bows slightly and leaves. Seo Jun is looking at him like he's just seen something important. That's different from before, he says. Yes, Jae-young replies. Before, people admired the spectacle. Now, they carry the work into their lives. It feels smaller. It feels bigger. That night, Seo Jun stays up late editing a piece about a ceramic artist who rebuilt her life after losing her studio. Jae-young falls asleep on the couch, sketchbook open on his chest. When Seo Jun finishes, he drapes a blanket over him automatically. A year ago, this would have been a secret moment hidden behind closed curtains. Now the curtains are open, windows cracked for air, city sounds drifting in. Nothing dramatic, everything honest. Sometimes, things are still hard. Money is tighter than it used to be. Some months are a balancing act of invoices and careful budgeting. Some articles don't get enough views. Some collections sell slower than expected. Fear still visits, but it no longer runs the house. One evening, Seo Jun finds an old screenshot buried in his phone. That first headline, fashion icon linked to rookie reporter. He shows it to Jae-young. Remember when this felt like the end of the world? Jae-young studies it, then huffs a quiet laugh. We looked so dramatic. We were dramatic. We were terrified, Jae-young corrects. Seo Jun nods. Then he deletes the screenshot. Not out of shame, out of distance. They're not those people anymore, the ones defined by a moment of exposure. They're just two people building something, day by day. Later, as they wash dishes together, water warm over their hands, Seo Jun asks, if you could go back and avoid all that chaos, would you? Jae-young doesn't hesitate. No. Seo Jun looks at him. Even knowing the cost, Jae-young turns off the tap, water dripping from his fingers. I spent half my life designing clothes that made people feel safe, he says. You're the first place I ever felt it. Seo Jun's expression softens, quiet and full. Outside, a motorcycle passes. Someone laughs in the street. A neighbor's TV hums through the wall. Ordinary sounds. A year ago, their lives were all flashbulbs and echo. Now it's this. Dishes, deadlines, shared silence, love that doesn't perform, love that stays, and in the end, that's the story that outlived every headline. Part 1, the first interview. Backstage at Paris Fashion Week, a calm, perfectly dressed designer stands under harsh white lights while a nervous rookie reporter with messy hair and a crooked badge asks an unexpectedly emotional question. Fabric racks, mirrors, and half-dressed models surround them as their worlds quietly collide. Part 2, coffee without cameras. A quiet Paris cafe corner. Steam rising from 2 cups, sunlight through the window. The famous designer in simple clothes sits across from the rookie reporter, both leaning in, talking like equals for the first time. Outside, the city blurs, inside, the moment feels still. Part 3, The Night Walk. City lights reflect on wet pavement as they walk side by side at night. Their hands almost touch, shoulders brushing. The world is wide and glowing, but the focus is on the charged space between them, the moment feelings begin. Part 4, The Umbrella Photo. Rain pours on a city street. The designer holds an umbrella over the reporter, pulling him close to shield him. Across the street, a blurred camera lens captures the intimate moment. Raindrops, headlights, and flash reflections create drama. Part 5, After the Scandal. Inside a sleek studio filled with sketches and mannequins, the reporter stands holding a small box of desk items, looking lost. The designer stands nearby, torn and guilty. Bright workspace, but heavy emotional atmosphere. Part 6, The Apartment Confrontation. A small, dim apartment doorway at night. The reporter stands inside, tired but resolute. The designer stands outside, vulnerable for the first time. Warm indoor light spills into the hallway, highlighting emotional distance and longing. Part 7, The Runway Choice. A bright fashion runway with flashing cameras. The designer walks off the stage and toward the front row where the reporter sits, stunned. The designer reaches out his hand publicly. Crowd blurred, spotlight on them. Part 8, Pressure from the World. Split scene feel. On one side, the designer in a glass corporate meeting room facing serious executives. On the other, the reporter alone in a newsroom under cold fluorescent lights. Both look overwhelmed in different worlds. Part 9, Building Something New. Late night at a small kitchen table covered with sketches, fabric swatches, laptops, and notes. The two sit side by side working on their own dreams, tired but hopeful. Warm lamp light, intimate and creative atmosphere. Part 10, A Quieter Life. A small fashion gallery show, soft lighting, simple space. The designer stands among guests, relaxed. Across the room, the reporter adjusts a camera or notebook, both sharing a subtle smile. No spectacle, just peace. Epilogue, Ordinary Love. At home in a cozy kitchen, evening light through the window. One washes dishes while the other dries, talking softly. Fabric scraps and notebooks on the table behind them. Calm, domestic, real love. If you want, I can turn these into AI art prompts, style plus lighting plus mood tags next. If you like the story, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notifications for more amazing stories.